Hey, Joe Vizio, getting ready to start my work night. Got a little bit of drive over to my first job, so figured I'd make a quick video. I don't know if I'll do any more today, as it's already starting to get into them evening hours, so it'll be dark pretty quick. But we'll see. Figured I would take this time, just tell another story. Just keep going, and hopefully my stories can get a little bit shorter. Keep your attention. I don't know how much attention I have telling these long 30-minute stories, but I guess once you get rolling, you get rolling. Plus, I waste a lot of time just talking crap like this, so that's how it is. So, figured I would, tell a little bit about myself and what has made me up. And of course, I'll tie it into a story with my father. And about me, I grew up a huge baseball person. I love baseball. I could eat, sleep, and shit baseball, man. That was my thing. I like to think that I was pretty good, but the reality of it is I was probably a lot better in my mind than what I actually was. But nonetheless, I still very, very, very much enjoyed playing. Grew up in Philly, so of course I was a Phillies fan. And to be a fan of a baseball team that is not enriched with a winning tradition, kind of takes some dedication. I understand that as recently as 2006, 2007, all the way up to 2012. We Philadelphia Phillies fans enjoyed some good baseball for a while, but all good things must come to an end. When I was a kid, I enjoyed the days of, Mike Schmidt. I was kind of little on the young side to truly enjoy the 1980 World Series. I was playing baseball a little bit, but not really like the hardcore fan. I did know the big names: Mike Schmidt, Pete Rose, Steve Carlton, Big McBride, and all them. But they were a little bit before my time. As I got a little bit older in the early 80s, I really got to enjoy some Mike Schmidt. But, that was one of my big things to get to see the Phillies win. Remember in 1983, the Phillies made it to the World Series, and I do remember sitting at my uncle's house. I do remember watching it and watching the Phillies lose. 1993. And all the years in between, I was a dedicated fan. Played baseball, Little League. Very, very, very little bit of high school, as that kind of partially my fault, as I didn't really put in enough care into maintaining what I needed to maintain to play. And also I lived a pretty far stretch away from the high school and its activities and things like that. And one day after a baseball practice, I ended up sitting out at the school till almost 9 o'clock at night. And that was actually the last time that I had participated in anything sports related with the school. And my father didn't have too much to do with me in baseball. It was always used as a weapon, something for him to punish me with and take away from me. A few times, he'd put the glove on and go out and throw a ball around with me, but not so much. I do remember him and his girlfriend did end up coaching one of his girlfriend's kids' team. Thanks, Pop. But, the way he says it, that's what he wanted to do, and he should be able to do what he wants to do without anybody telling him otherwise. And that's how he felt, that's what he did, and if anybody didn't like it, this is what you can sit on. That was his attitude. But, I guess that's another it is what it is kind of thing. He showed up and, watched some of my games, usually to yell some criticism through the fence at me, and then would use that as an excuse, when I'm just kind of getting embarrassed of my father sitting in the stands telling me what I'm doing wrong, instead of, getting out and working with me sometimes on what I may be doing wrong. He always took that as, well, when I tell you what to do, you get a bad attitude, so I don't have nothing to do with you, and you're just, whatever. There was one time, there was a game that was supposed to be played that night between two different teams on the main baseball field. So the team that I was on, as we were holding a practice that day, we could not use the field. So the only thing that was left for us was a corner of the soccer field, which, that's fine, as long as we can kind of shape out a diamond, which that was pretty easy, was usable. My father, in his time was very much involved with his own softball. His work had a team, and he stayed involved. He liked to coach and kind of get out there and be the pitcher and whatnot. So over the years, he's collected a pretty sizable bag of equipment. So when we moved down to Florida, his softball career had kind of come to an end. So we had all that equipment just kind of sitting there collecting dust. The only thing that I ever laid claim to was they had this big orange bat. And this bat was probably too heavy for me to use, too long for me to use, but I love the feeling of that bat whipping around. And I even tried to use it playing baseball, which, some people would say would put you at an advantage, but it's actually a disadvantage because a softball bat is a lot skinnier than a baseball bat. So in the event that you do make contact with the ball, the ball might go a little bit further, but you're going to end up striking out a hell of a lot more than you're going to end up making contact with the ball. But you know, I laid claim to that big orange bomb bat because that was just had that feeling, man. The skinny handle and the weight just kind of carried itself. I loved it. But he had some bases in that bag. All four: home plate, the third base. So anyway, we was out on this soccer field practicing, and the coach had said, man, you know, we need to get some bases. Yes, I volunteered the bases that my father had sitting in the garage in the bag, pretty much letting the rats eat. So, got in the truck with the coach, and we drove over to my house, and I got into the garage, and I found the bag, and the bag there was a knot on the bag, and I was kind of struggling to open it up. Right at that time, from the garage door that leads into the house, here's a silhouette of my father standing there. And lo and behold, he's in his underwear. Why do these narcissists like to confront you either in their underwear or with their dick just flopping around? I mean, I never really kind of got that. I mean, you know, it's, I guess Pop was proud of his junk. I mean, you know, I'm not hung like a horse or anything like that, but, you know, I don't think that I've been cheated either, but I don't go standing around like fucking Captain America with my dick flopping around like I'm just fucking proud of it, you know? It's just kind of narcissistic to do something like that, but, you know, it happened to me a few times. This time just happened to be in this fucking tighty whities. So he's standing there. I see the silhouette in the door, and he says to me, "What are you doing? That's not yours." Well, you know, Dad, you know, this stuff's just kind of sitting here, you know, we need it for practice, you know, I'll bring them back. You know, you're just, you can't know. You're going to ruin them. You're going to lose it like you do anything. I can't trust you to do nothing. Just you don't touch my... And then he stops. And he's seen my baseball coach standing there. And he said the name Jesus Christ. And he turned around and he walked back into the house. Baseball coach Chris kind of walked up to me. He could see that I was just absolutely mortified. He put his arm around me and he says, "It's okay, Joe. We don't need these bases." I said, "No. We're going to use them." And as I was standing there struggling with the knot, Chris was a firefighter. So Chris goes and he pulls out his little tool. All good country boys have one. And he popped that knot and opened up the bag. And we got the bases and we drove right back over to the baseball field, which was, just... There was like a row of houses, a very small, it wasn't even a creek, it was like a drainage ditch. And then another field, and then there was the baseball field and the soccer fields we were playing. Because we were right there. You know, when the lights of the field were on, they could shine onto my house. So that's how close we were. But as we pulled up there at the baseball field, Chris had said to me, you know, "Don't worry, Joe, I'm not going to tell anybody." And then he did ask me if my father was hitting me. And I told him no, he doesn't do that. And, you know, I've always been one to say that I thought that he got a little bit excessive, actually a lot of bit excessive, with some corporal punishment. but it wasn't abuse in the sense that he just had a bad day at work and come home and kicked the shit out of me. I don't know why I always try and justify that, but I don't. I know there's a lot of people out there that really have it worse when it comes to the whole physical abuse thing. And I don't want to just jump in there and play that angle and say that, you know, this is what happened to me, and no, it wasn't. I wasn't just a victim of physical abuse. I think there was a little bit of physical abuse mixed in with some mental abuse, narcissistic abuse, but I can't wait till I get to the point where I can say something like this and then not try and justify it to myself. But, you know, as it is where we are, this is where we are, so that's that. So, yeah, we put the bases out and we played, and when I was finished, I made sure that those bases got put back inside the bag, and I never used them again. As far as I'm concerned, my father still has that bag of softball equipment that is probably, the bats have been eaten by corrosion, the bases have been eaten by rats, and the balls have just fucking biodegraded. But that's okay, because you know what, Dad? I didn't touch your fucking bases. I didn't touch them. I didn't need them anymore. I didn't need none of your shit. You can have it. It's mine. Mine. Don't touch it. It's mine. I love doing that. But yeah, that's kind of how that one went. So, you know, I don't know if you think that's a petty little story or not, but again, that story was mine. It was true. I got no reason to make any of this stuff up. It's not like I'm writing for a Hollywood play or someone's going to come back, oh, my son, I've treated you. No, that shit ain't going to happen. I don't get no money for this. Nobody's feeling sorry for me. This isn't about me feeling sorry for myself. This is just true to what happened. And I tell it because it helps me to be able to look back at these and see a human being sitting in front of me telling of his story, as I've watched other people's stories. And I always give credit to Ollie Matthews. Just, you know, he was the first one I seen. I know there's many other out there that do this. I am one that is doing this. But Ollie Matthews was the first one that I seen and I connected with. So, periodically I am going to give him a little bit of plug as a thank you for services rendered. And I hope it brings a little bit of traffic over to his site. I encourage you, if you are watching this, tell your story. Tell it. Just get on here. And I know you might feel stupid sometimes, and you might feel like you're doing a play to get people to feel sorry for you, but I know different. I think you are going to learn different, and you need to do this. You need to get your stuff out. And again, I don't know if I have a friend. I don't know if this friend watches any of this stuff, but just in case you are, remember, you're not alone. You're not alone. There's a lot of us out here doing this, and you gotta do what's going to make you happy. And when you finally make your own good family. I know we can't just willy-nilly just let everybody in, but do your best, and this is for me too, do your best not to push everybody away. That's important. Nobody's going to fully understand what we're going to go through, but it doesn't hurt to try a little bit to help them to understand. And in the times that they do take advantage of it, then, you remember they are human. and remind them. If it is something that's habitual, then you know what to do, because you got to be happy. So I'm going to go clean my first place. I'm going to go clean me up some toilet bowls. So I hope you guys enjoy. I see I get a little bit of traffic here and there. Like I say, maybe I'm boring, and people don't want to listen to the whole. That's okay. Like I said, if this helps out anybody, then I feel like I've done something. Although people can look at me like I'm airing my dirty laundry out or something like that, as I've said, this has helped me. So I would like to take the time to help you. So if it works for you, that's great. If you want to cuss me, ain't like I ain't never been cussed before, so let it on down there. Leave a comment. I'll respond. I'll do something. And to those who have subscribed and that are watching, I know you're there. I appreciate you, and I hope that this helps you. And if you do the same thing, and you want to get some people to come over to yours to look at it, by all means, go down into the comment section, put a link to your video. This way, maybe if someone watches mine, or they get bored with mine, maybe they can go down there and watch yours. And, if they don't get help from one, they might get help from the other. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to go clean a couple turd bowls. Enjoy.